Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the third leg of the Dil Se series. I'm very glad to see so many of you joining us, and the numbers have been growing every weekend. It's very heartening. Even the quality of conversation, of course, has been improving, and it's been personally a learning experience for me as well. Joining in every weekend, so it's been really significant. I just want to say that I think a lot of us have taken different elements of what Daaji has been sharing with us over the 2 weekends, this being the third. But for me, what has stood out is the importance and the criticality of feeling connected with others. And I think this is particularly important in these exceptional times that we're living, where there is war, there's an ongoing war that is taking place, and so peace and harmony, both internally and externally, becomes something that we all should, and I'm sure are thinking about as well. um, I think that, like I said, I think every weekend people have taken different things away, but for me the last weekend was also transformative in the way that Daji's anecdotes on what is important for us from a personal learning point of view, and making sure that we set a goal and we are continuously meditating on the right, at the same time, whether that's our morning meditation, even if it's for 5 minutes. A lot of people have said, oh, I don't have time, I lead a very busy life, how do I take time out to meditate? And I think some of the responses have been, it doesn't matter, let's start with 5 minutes, but let's make a start and let's have a clear goal on why we want to meditate. So those have been really learning experiences for me. But I would obviously, there are a number of corporates who've joined us today, several partners from Deloitte, KPMG, also from the CEO Club of India. And we of course at Heartfulness have a dedicated corporate program called Kaushalam, and there are a number of people who've joined us from the Middle East and the North African region as well. So welcome to everyone. We're really excited to have this conversation with you, and looking forward to Daaji joining us and building on this conversation.
Thank
And
you.
like Yes, and like the host has been saying, if you would like to listen to the conversation in another language, please choose that. We have that option as well, so please go ahead and do that. Yes, I'll hand it over to Sanjay uncle if he'd like to introduce everyone else who's joined from the MENA region.
Hi everybody, good evening and pranams to everybody. It's been a wonderful experience. Today for the first time we have got this opportunity to interact with Daaji, and I'm so happy that so many from the MENA region, Middle East and North Africa, have been joining. I exactly do not know who has joined because I have not gone into the list of participants today. But yes, with the exchange of messages with all of them, we were expecting somewhere very close to 900 to 1,000 people joining today. And it's been wonderful. And I'm very grateful to Daaji, to Kamlesh Bhai on this opportunity given to us, and looking forward. So please guide me if I have to start when Daaji comes, or will you introduce Pragya? Just let me know, and accordingly, because I would like to welcome him also on this show.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I'm sure Daaji will be joining us soon, but I just also wanted to take the opportunity to also say that the way we usually run this program is, please feel free to raise your hands and we'll try and come to you to respond to questions, but you can also post them in the chat box. We've also received a number of questions as people have registered, and we will make sure that we get back to you over an email, because we're receiving a number of questions, which is great. Daaji also mentioned that last weekend he is keen to respond and address all the questions that come. That's the whole goal of setting this Dil Se session up. A lot of people have joined during the pandemic. They are still understanding what the various elements of the practice is, the meditation, the cleaning, and the prayer, and also the significance of each of these practices and what we should take away from them. So please keep sending those questions in, and of course, we will respond to you over an email, or of course during the session as well. So yeah, Sanjay uncle, we'll just probably wait for Daaji to join in, and then we can start taking the questions on.
Yeah, so you see, I've received a lot of questions from different countries, from Bahrain, Oman, Iran, Kuwait, and everything has been passed on to Kanha, to Lokesh and Sanjay Bhai. And I'm sure because the number of questions which have been sent are too many, and due to time restraint, I believe Daji will not be able to answer all of them. But good luck to all those to whose questions have been answered. And as you mentioned, that he may surely respond to those questions which are not answered by email. So the Abhyasis will be happy to receive them.
Yes, and I think it was the last weekend or the weekend before that, Daji said to all of us, because I was just saying the same thing, which is we may not be able to get to everyone's question. And he said, he actually started the meditation session by saying, think of the question that you have and meditate. And after that, tell me if you still have that question. And I think all of us found that meditation session extremely helpful because, we all have these lingering questions, but at the same time, if you were to just pause and introspect, I think somewhere we're able to find the answers from within. And maybe we're just looking for a lot of validation, from Daji or externally, but that evening session was particularly interesting, both for me and when we all joined in the next day. A lot of Abhyasis shared that, heartfulness practitioners shared that when they did start with that goal and with that question, their answers did get resolved at the end of the half an hour, 25-minute meditation session that Daji conducted. So please do keep that in mind as well. But of course, the goal is to interact and keep talking to Daji and getting his point of view for us to learn a lot more about the practice and ourselves. So, we'll try to get to as many questions as possible.
I totally agree with you.
Yeah. I think we also have some really interesting folks joining us from the US as well. I think we have Kevin Kelly, who's the director of the International Peace Museum at Ohio. Welcome, Kelly. Kevin, it's wonderful to have you. Thank you so much for taking the time to join. I think we have the others as well. I'll go through the list once Daaji joins in so that we don't have to repeat these names, and I will obviously come to you as and when Daaji is here to ask any questions or anything you'd like to share about the practice. If you have been practicing, we'd love to hear from you on that too.
Sure.
Also, just making sure that everyone is aware of the interpretation tab. Please feel free to use that so that you can understand and hear whatever conversation is ongoing. I also wanted to share that during one of the sessions, we had the owners of the Chitralekha magazine, which is a very well established and renowned magazine in the southern part of India for all those who are joining internationally. And they asked a question, and they also wanted to come to Kanha. So they are actually in Kanha right now with Daaji and really enjoying the environment at Kanha and attending the morning session, morning meditation, and going through the whole regime in Kanha itself. So I think those are some of the moments that you're able to create through these conversations and build on your practice. So therefore, I just wanted to highlight that they're there. And similarly, there was someone else who had shared an extremely, I would say, intense emotional experience that they're going through, and that too has helped them because he shared that with Daaji and he's been meditating, and that's helped him too. Pranam Daaji, welcome to the session. It's great to have you again.
Yes, so happy to see you all.
Namaskar, Kamlesh Bhai.
Sanjay Bhai.
Ji.
Kev
cho sahab?
I hear you, but I don't see you.
Really?
Yeah.
By God's grace, the physics is not so small that you can't see me.
So just moving on, Daaji, I just wanted to share with you a few interesting people who joined us. And I also wanted to say that this session is focused towards a lot of the corporates joining us, along with the Kaushalam program that we run with corporates to go out and talk about heartfulness and how it can help them deal with stress and anxiety in the workplace, and obviously bring out a more authentic conversation even as a work culture in a lot of these corporates. So we have a number of partners from Deloitte and KPMG and also the CEO Club of India who are here, in addition to, of course, practitioners from the MENA region. And I've, along with Sanjay Uncle, of course, I've seen a number of people joining in from Oman, Dubai, Abu Dhabi, and Iran. So just to give you a sense on what the audience looks like. And we also have Kevin Kelly, who is the director of the International Peace Museum from Ohio. We have Titapon, who's a leadership coach from Thailand. And we also have Mr. BVN Rao, who's a senior director of the GMR group. So, if you have any questions, please do raise your hands and we can, go ahead, and I'll make sure I call upon you for this conversation. Daaji, we also got a lot of questions while people were registering, but like we've discussed earlier, I think they will just address it through an email. It's a lot easier to do that. But I have a few questions listed out in case we fall short. We can go to those questions as well. So should we just kick this off? I think the first question, Kevin, would you like to share your experience, or do you have a question for Daaji?
Well, I'm very excited to be here from Dayton, Ohio in the United States. Of course, we're in a very difficult moment for the entire world. And it's pretty frightening, the news coming out of the Ukraine today with nuclear reactors being hit and the potential problems from that. So I'm very anxious to hear Daaji's views on what we can do and what we can do collectively. It's exciting to be in a room with 360 people from all over the world who peace is an important part of their lives, and it's an important practice. We don't see that as much in the West. And so it's very exciting to be here with you and to learn from you and to try to have a better understanding about how we can internalize peace and the problems that we're facing really as an entire world. So I'm very excited to be here and to listen to the comments and questions and to learn more about the practice. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. It is really concerning. It's a world over. And now this Ukraine-Russia tension is creating a worldwide stressful impact. Seeing the reactors being hit is not a small thing. So what we as an individuals can do at this level, to tell you the truth, nothing can we do. There is nothing which is in our hands. We can collectively pray and hopefully bring about some sense in political leaders so they can also become stronger and take action. In order to establish peace, sometimes a lot of chaotic things have to go on. When we witness, when we read all the ancient literatures, Greek times, Roman times, and how these crusaders, also under the name of religions, trying to spread peace and love, created so much of violence. Now, can we stop this violence by another level of violence? I don't think so. And can we also sit back and relax and say, okay, let God handle this matter? That is also not the case. So deep down, when we study the human nature, we often talk about this pollution and that pollution, water pollution, air pollution, chemical pollution, noise pollution, but they all have the roots. Why do an industrialist keep on discharging their toxic effluents into water channels or in sewer system and affect the oceans? It's a greed. And greed has the roots in a cunning heart, where mind is not functioning properly and the greed takes over. Same thing for terrorism. Same thing for any politician to go out of the way and do bad things. Greed is the main thing, and ego that fuels the action. Can we change individual by enforcement? I don't think so. The moment you enforce something, people rebel. Even a small child, when you say, don't do this, otherwise I'll punish you, they'll still do it quietly when you're not there. So, and you're talking about presidents and prime ministers, premiers of various countries who have bloated ego much more than a little child. They are not going to be stopped just because you put some economic embargo. It's not going to do that. So, like vaccination, how to prevent it, that's the main thing. What could have other countries done better? Was there any measure to deter before they proceed? To warn and not to do anything is a bad thing. It's a bad decision. And I'm especially talking of some other comparative powers which are far more stronger than the Russian powers. They show the teeth, but they don't bite them. You know what I'm trying to say? America, for example, they warned Russia not to do it, but after giving the warning, what are they doing? They're keeping quiet, which is unfortunate. At the same time, we have learned lessons. I'm also a US American citizen. See, we have learned a lesson during the Afghan war. If a small country like Afghanistan cannot be controlled and regulated, can you imagine America daring to regulate Russia? It can only create more and more, I think, problems throughout the world. So I think many countries, if they're wiser, I think let one country suffer. That's a bad thing from my part to say. That one country still might suffer, but something good will come out of it for sure. As a result, the Russians themselves, those who are not in favor of war, will also decide something politically at home. Similarly, Ukrainians also, they will learn the biggest lesson also, whom to trust, whom not to trust. And other countries also will learn bigger lessons that, look, when such powers become too aggressive, even America, Canada, Britain, France, they don't come along, Germany. So can you trust them? So it's the whole world, it's in a boiling state at the moment. There is no settling at the moment. And once Russia has witnessed their success in occupying Ukraine, right or wrong, we're not here to judge and discuss about the whole thing. Any action to prevail violently is always wrong. Justifiable or not, but it's always wrong. Other countries will also learn the lesson from this, that look, when Russia is aggressive and responsible countries, powerful countries like United States are not able to do anything, will you be able to stop the next move by another country like China, for example? So I think we are too small in a way to talk about all this at an individual level. And I really also am not very sure about how even country heads can help go through these situations, you see. So prayerfully, that's the only thing we can do. When nothing else works from our side, prayer is the only instrument. We surrender to God and say, may thy will be done. At an individual level, like what we have done so far, We have ashrams in Romania, we have ashrams in Denmark, we have few abhyasis practicing heartfulness way of meditation in Poland. So we have shared their addresses, etc. So in case these Ukrainian refugees are passing through their ways, they can stay there as long as they like. And we have also raised some money from locally in the Europe, how we can financially help such displaced families. But as far as war is concerned, I think it's beyond us to handle it.
Thank you, Daaji. Great initiatives. I mean, I think opening homes and even providing financial support in these trying times, I'm sure will go a long way. If people do actually take up that offer, I think they're going to remember it for a lifetime. So it's really nice on heartfulness practitioners to do that and open their hearts and homes. We have also Tita Pon, who's from Thailand. He's a leadership coach. Would you like to go ahead and ask a question or share anything with Daaji?
No, I just feel privileged to be here. Good evening, Daaji. I have been practicing heartfulness for 14 months now, but meditation for the past 5 years. So before heartfulness, it was something else. And it's not a question, but my observation to myself is I do the prayer sometimes, not yet daily, but the cleaning and the meditation. And I guess I don't understand the prayer yet or haven't experienced it deeply enough. So maybe some guidance around why we do it. And yeah, I would like just some guidance. But I'm not in a rush. I know one day I will get there. So, but the prayer is the part where I feel like a bit puzzled at the moment or like an amateur at the moment. Thank you. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to ask the question.
Thank you, too. Prayer to me is the connecting link between myself and the Maker. If you like to call myself, which is so personal, as an individual, to an impersonal self, which is universal, God. So prayer is the connecting link between myself and God. In prayer, we imagine also. It's not realistic actually, it's a virtual feeling that maybe God is there with me. I use the word deliberately, maybe, because we are not very sure whether He's there or not. To a lot of people, this feeling is there, and I don't want to push the idea that you must believe in God. No, you may believe because you respect your parents, you respect religion, you respect certain holy literature. It's okay. So we come to this neutral ground, and maybe, maybe not. And then we offer our prayer with a heart full of love and say, God, I like to believe. You see? But in order to come to that level of true belief, I must experience your presence. And that attitude should be there. See? And I should not be very fixated about the nature and form of God. If I fix my idea on nature and form of God, then that will become my projection. So we are offering these sentiments in the form of words that God, you are my real goal in human life, as far as my human life is concerned. What is preventing me is, you put before that these are the things which are preventing me coming towards you. And without your help, I cannot attain that, or I cannot come to your level of consciousness. That's all. So we are fixing our goal. We are fixing we are recognizing the problems And we are also praying that maybe God, you can help me get out of the situation so that I can understand you, be with you, and come to a level matching your level of consciousness. So it's very general and very subtle and very powerful, if you like to say, sentiment that we are approaching God with. And we are not demanding anything that I want this or I want that. We are not begging that God, I want this and I don't want this person in my life. Things like that. See.
Thank you, Daaji. Tapon, welcome. It was really nice for you to join us, and I hope your question was answered. I'm just going to move on and ask a question to Juhi, who had also, I think, last weekend raised her hand. Juhi, please go ahead.
Am I audible?
Yes.
Yes, we can. Please go ahead.
Pranam Daaji. Thank you for letting me ask my question. All I want to say is that thank you. Thank you so much.
Do you have a question?
Yeah.
Please go ahead.
My sister is getting married in May. So first of all, I want your blessings for her. And secondly, it's very hard to let my sister go, although this is destined and this has to happen. So what should I do to overcome this? And before that, thank you from the whole Jodhpur team, Bhakti Di, Anjana, Bhavna, Khushi, Poonam, from everyone. Thank you. And
Thank
also
you.
Kashish and Jia.
Thank you. Thank you. Your sister will have to go. You see, she's getting married. New life is beginning. And for you also, in no time you'll also get married. You'll have your own children. They will get married. They will go away also. This is part of life, you see. But as children, when we are younger and we see our loved ones go from house, it feels empty. And we worry a lot. It is bound to happen. I'm not going to preach you and say it's not good. It is good. I wish many family members would also feel the way you are feeling. You should not feel, oh, thank God my sister is gone and I can use her room. No, it's a good feeling that it shows your love for your sister. And keep it up. Keep it up. As I said, I will not lecture you into think differently. Many people say, oh, I got married, it's part of life. But of course you miss. And there is nothing wrong with that. See? And I will not show you methods and techniques to put a balm over your heart for such things. No, let it be there. Enjoy it. Okay. Next question, please.
Something has gone wrong with Pragya's audio system.
Oh, it's Sanjay bhai. You take over then. Let's see.
Yeah. Kamlesh bhai, firstly, I would like to say a big, big thank you. It's like, we people living in desert, walking for 2 years in desert, and finally today we reached the oasis. It was that sort of feeling. It was great. The best thing is there are so many new participants, Abhyasis who have joined today, which is so encouraging, and youngsters and middle-aged and, sisters and brothers from all over the countries, right from Morocco, Lebanon, Oman, Bahrain, Iran. And we have two interesting people. They would like to interact with you. One is Brother Rakesh Jha. He is the managing director of an Oman Construction Engineering, and also he is the president of Indian Social Club in Oman. He would like to say hello to you. And that is, is Mr. Prakash Jha there?
Yeah, good evening, Rakesh.
Namaskar.
Rakesh.
Namaskar, Daaji. Good evening, one and all, brother and sister. This is my first interaction with you all. Mr. Nitin, brother, has introduced me quite a long time before. I can say that I am managing the business, also the social activity. And after this pandemic, it was a very difficult in both ends, because one is we are not very much trained, though we have a long experience to managing the social service, but business was a new for me. I was working with Samcop Power and Water Company long back, and then I started investor visa taken in Oman and started business 5 years before. And then Daaji, I got an opportunity last year to have a few meditations, but really it could not be help much to come over this problem. Though mentally peace was there, health was okay, but how to come out with such a difficult task? One is a business was new for me. Another, the social responsibility I got as a president of Indian Social Club Salala, and suddenly a lot of people got affected in Dofa region. Salala is a tourist place here in Oman, and many Indians are here. You feel like you are in India when we are in Oman. Maybe some technique, maybe not today, because it will take some time for me to learn. I request you to maybe suggest something where business and socially both can be managed. We are arranging a lot of social camp, blood donation camp here, beach cleaning, oxygen concentration distribution, but those all things are unable to cater for all people. So I am here since last 19 years, and managing this company since last 5 years, and the club last 14 years. As a president, I'm president since last year. So this is a short brief from mine. I'm from Bihar, settled in Chhattisgarh, India. And since 19 years, I am here working with many power and water companies, including Jindal, Reliance Energy, BSES. And here I joined a government company, the Power Company, and Singapore-based this Samcor, Power and Water Company. So I'm here since trying my level best. And I joined this Heartfulness since last year, but unable to practice very regularly due to the lot of social load and business. You know that all around the world it has got affected. So thank you, and to giving me opportunity to interact with you. In due course, maybe I need more, I think, association with Heartfulness. Thank you.
Thank you, Prakash. You are asking for a solution from me. I think you are asking the wrong person. Sorry. If I have to do all that you are doing, I'll be lost. You know, the things that you have described, so many things you have been doing. But the main thing you are forgetting, the meditation. See, I was reading Gita, one sloka that came up, one sister of Yasi was reciting, she's hardly 5-year-old. And the end of the sloka, can there be happiness without peace? Lord Krishna asked this question, can there be happiness without peace? It's not possible. And before that he asked the question, is peace possible without contemplative mind? Is contemplative mind possible without focus? And is focused mind possible without meditation? So now you can connect the link between focused mind, meditation, contemplative mind, peace, and happiness. When you forget the very root of our existence, the mental balance, how to sharpen our mind and heart, if this is not done, if there is no synchronicity, resonance between the heart and the mind, you will be like a lost bird, a bird without a tail. It can fly and fly and fly, with two wings in all directions. But without this tail giving the directions, what will become of that bird? And so of a human being, you can move this from this powerhouse to this water house, to this social club, to this water or blood campaign. What are you trying to achieve? Even if you may succeed in all these fields, but fail at an individual level in attaining what minimal in Hinduism we call it as liberation. If that is missed out, then what is the point of success in this world? That does not mean that we should not pursue all that. We have to pursue. But making the activities, like you are arranging for a blood drive, blood donation drive, or water system that you are trying to install, or you're trying to invite a lot of tourists to your company, great. But if you can spiritualize all these materialistic activities, that you are doing all this while thinking of the Lord, that I am doing all this in the service of God. In Sufism, they call all your activities you should do with dhikr, under constant remembrance. When you are restless to serve God, and through this restless attitude, that you are so restless to serve God, and while having this restlessness, you are also serving the humanity as if you are serving God. Then you will have no problems doing whatsoever you like. Partaking food, spending time with family, spending time with community, spending time with your bosses. It doesn't become a small task. Everything becomes spiritual in the process. It depends on us, how we filter our thoughts and ideas and feelings. You see, energy, Einstein says energy can never be destroyed. Similarly, the energy that we carry within us, be it emotional energy, mental energy, physical energy, they can never be destroyed. If you are angry for a moment, will it be destroyed? No. But if you remain prayerful while you are angry, if you close your eyes for a few moments, if you can manage to during your angry spell, then that very anger will change its face. It will become more compassion. It will turn into love. And say, why was I getting angry? So anger changes its face just because you waited for some time and became something transformative, not only for yourself, but for others as well. And no ability or no training can be given to a person who is not receptive, interested enough what is being taught, and also not fully aware. Can you teach a person who is asleep? You can't. We are awake, we have open eyes, but awareness is lacking. Sometimes, your professor is teaching you something, and you are daydreaming and your mind is somewhere. That means you are not aware at that moment. Your attention is elsewhere. And can anyone teach us everything in one go? Or even little by little, little by little? But life throws many challenges. In the examinations, when we were studying in colleges and schools, often the questions that were asked were something that you never had studied or referred to in the books. How would you answer those questions which are not in the books? Life is also like that. Everything in life that we go through, it's not written in books. Every day there is a new challenge. That's why many people who are very successful academically, they goof up in real life examinations. You see, they don't know how to clear those life tests. Only way to solve situations in day-to-day life is to become sensitive to what's happening inside and outside, become aware of the situation, and remain meditative and see how the answers unfold in you. And then use those answers. Otherwise, something can go wrong of which you have never been given the education. You don't know how to even behave with your own sister or brother or your spouse. How are you going to tackle the unknown individuals that you meet every single day? So we have to become aware from inside. Awareness is the key. And this awareness becomes sharper and sharper as we meditate more and more.
Understood. Sorry, Daaji, I had a bad connection. I apologize. The internet's not holding up. We have another brother who's had his hand up, Dr. Shiva Prasad. Would you like to ask your question?
Pranam Daaji. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. In fact, I would say that for this entire Heartfulness episode, I am unborn baby because I have just started 2 months ago. And I am working in a scientific field. So probably I will not tell what all the problems I face, but I only wanted to know that I am very spiritual kind of a person. Even before going after this heartfulness meditation, I read a lot of scriptures and those things. So I have just one conflict when I've been going through Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa's teachings in the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. He happens to say that you first start practicing meditation by assuming a form of a God whom you love most, so that you will have your interest or whatever your concentration levels are at a higher level. Slowly, when you progress, then you go to the formless state. But in heartfulness, we are starting with the formless state and we are trying to achieve the higher goals. So I would like to know, since I have been regularly doing a puja, meditation, sandhya vandan, all these things, so there is a conflict of interest. So please guide me in this. And also I would like to bring to your kind notice that Sister Sirisha Palicherla of Hyderabad, she has been an excellent guide, and before starting my first session with her, I was in a very chaotic situation, and I'm very impulsive and a very aggressive person, but it has really changed, and that is acknowledged by my wife who is sitting next to me. So thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Kanha. Well, all my life I have been great admirer of Paramahamsaji. See, he's the one who motivated me to embrace spirituality. During my first session itself, I had his darsana and he said, this is the right path I must follow. And since then I could understand that it is only through his blessings that I have found Sri Ramchandraji of Sahajanpur, who is my Ramakrishna now. See. he came from a different time zone. He was a Kali Bhakta in the beginning. So many things that were shared by him were from his beginning time. Then his journey is also different, you see. His journey changed after he met Totapuri, right? And Totapuri, as soon as he came in, he says, he talks to Ramakrishna Paramahansa ji and says, "You are wasting your time with this Kali." And Ramakrishna says, "How so?" So you are playing with this like a doll. It's not good for you. Then he takes a glass bottle which was on the Ganges bank and hits him on the head here and said, "You meditate here now on formless entities." Now, it is okay for a person who is just beginning and does not know anything. It's okay. But when you find a guru and he says, "Now you meditate on this," that is good for us. Forms have a lot of limitations. As I was sharing to a question, answer to a question on form, we have to come to a neutral point in our heart and say, be honest. Say, "God, I don't know you. I don't know whether you have this form or that form." Right? And even if I imagine the form of, let us say, the great Prophet Muhammad Sahib, can you imagine the form? You can't. Can you imagine the form of Lord Krishna? How he was in original form? No. And now you think of it. Both Prophet Muhammad and Lord Krishna, they had a form during their lifetime. How many could understand them? Seeing the actual form, how many got benefited? Even his own friend, the best friend Arjun, could not recognize him, even in his original form. And Dr. Jadhav, you are trying to imitate and imagine a statue or a photograph which is made by your wife, or you may be your grandmother or some artist. How can you benefit from imaginations? It can give you some solace. When I used to worship in a very traditional way, nothing wrong with it. But at that time, my habit was such that, I would bow my head, I would lit up the lamp, I would do some incense sticks, recite some slokas, bow again, and move on. The day I did not do it, I felt so bad. Bad, not because I loved God so much, but bad feeling was there. What if something can go wrong when I don't do this? And before exam, when you do this, "Oh, I'm going to get good marks, good score." You're always bargaining with God. Exchange, either for a favor or to avoid some sort of pain. And ultimately, when I die, I should go to heaven and avoid hell. This is the main purpose of approaching all these things. But God's approach should be for love, for the sake of love, not to get something out of that entity. God knows too well, even your wife knows too well, or other people also knows too well, that our mundane relationship is exchange. You do this for me, I'll do that for you. If you don't do that, you're in trouble. And God knows that without speaking, we even don't have to explain why we are worshipping. He knows how selfish we are. Form or no form. So first of all, we have to become very authentic in our search. And if you by chance come up to the right form, let me know which is the right form.
Sure. Daaji, we have actually an Abhyasi who's joined us from Ukraine. Oleksiy is here. Oleksiy, I know you wanted to ask Daaji about the war situation, but he already addressed that question. But just the fact that you've joined in such an important time, please do say hello and let us know how you're doing. Can we just unmute you?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize it's a he. Apologies.
Yes, it's me. Hello, Daaji.
Hello, Alex.
Pranams. Thank you so much for this opportunity to talk, to speak. And actually, I joined a little bit later because of the internet connection. Now, personally, I'm not physically in Ukraine, but it doesn't matter actually. Before this, I really wanted to speak so much and tell many things, but now everything falls out of my head whenever I speak directly to Daaji, to you. And first of all, I just want to thank you so much for this connection and for this affiliation, because it has changed so many things in my life, and even things that I never thought would change. And now in this situation that we face now, I also see how much my practice and my connection helps me to realize what's happening, to go through this. And my question is all about, I read in one of the Charya's book that when the destruction is needed, then great rishis, they transmit these destructive particles, use this kala, shakti or something. And people who live in that, on that vibratory level, they start acting. So that's what we actually see right now. So my question is about our spiritual work as Abhyasi and those who are meditating and praying, that what is actually this work? If this destruction must happen, what do we do as spiritual people? This is one part of the question, and the second part of the question is how to retain the spiritual condition and remain unaffected, because we still, even if we are not there right now, we still have to check news, to speak with the relatives, and this is so much emotional information, and it is not easy to remain calm, peaceful, and blissful during this time.
For all Ukrainians and neighboring countries, this is not an easy situation. It's very difficult. There is no way one can retain mental peace when war of this order is going on in your own country. You don't know. Because of the sheer uncertainty what can happen the very next moment. Often we try to use spirituality and say spirituality will bring about peace in me. Yes and no. If I had to pick up this water bottle, I have to use my hands. I cannot use my mind and say, let the bottle move and I drink. Similarly, when I have to share with you some ideas, I cannot write in a book and throw it on to you. I have to share it with you with words. The way you mentioned about the transmission and the destruction has to happen, the particle of destructions are let into the atmosphere. But the destruction that Chariji and the Babuji Maharaj they talked about, it's nothing to do with this sort of wars. It's of a different level of magnitude. The destruction that will happen is of a different order also, and nothing can be done about it. But such wars are because of the human greed. That is the main culprit behind it. And how to change, it's not in our hands. So we remain prayerful. See. But how to protect ourselves from not worrying about it, that's also not going to happen. See, when you are sick and you meditate, will your sickness go away? It's not going to happen. You have to go to a medical doctor. In this situation where there's war going on, what can you do? There is no doctor who can treat you, no psychologist who can treat you. Unfortunately, we all go through this situation. We are all part of it. Though you are not in Ukraine at the moment, still you are part of it. Somehow mentally you are connected with your friends, your relatives, your communities. Best is keep praying, my friend. That's all we can do. I think we have overshot ourselves with timing.
Yes, Raji, we have. I think we had a lot of questions, so that's why. But yes, I mean, I think we can meditate now. I know we're already way over time. We just have about 10-15 minutes left for the session to end.
Okay, we will meditate now. Please start meditation.
Thank you, Daaji, for the session again. I know we ran a little bit over time, but thank you for spending another evening with us. And thank you, everyone, for joining us from around the world. I really appreciate it. And we hope to see you tomorrow at the same time. And apologies again if you weren't able to take all your questions, but we'll certainly get back to you. So thank you again for taking the time. We'll see you tomorrow at the same time. Thank you.